It all starts in the game deep in the forest of Woldbury. There's a guy standing there with blood on his face, and in front of him, a whole army, even a girl sitting on a throne. The man next to her wants to know, what do? We tried everything, and he still hasn't shown up. She thinks for a moment, then gives the order, kill him. That's when the musclehead in a shirt steps forward to strike with an axe. Looks like the guy isn't going to fight back until a white-haired figure suddenly appears from the woods and lands a clean slash. The people who have been knocked down cheer at Harkin's arrival, and the rest of the soldiers shout to kill him. They try to gang up on him, but then he gives that sharp glowing stare, and you already know what that means. Everyone gets sliced down, collapsing dead on the ground. He still asks, "You think all of you charging me at once is gonna make a difference? Not even with everyone here together can you stop me." That's right, the name's Harkin. In the game, they call him the Hero Slayer. The people behind him start apologizing. "Sorry, Harkin. This is all our fault. We didn't think those bastards would trap everyone here." But Harkin says it's alright, no need to stress. He reaches his hand out and tells him it's time to get up. The guy's tearing up just hearing his name, but Harkin tells him it's okay. It's his fault too, in the end. And then there's that pathetic excuse for a villain, always tailing him, but never good enough to beat him. He glares at her, calls her an idiot, and she just stares back. Man, I swear, I hate pretty villains. Seriously, why can't there ever be an ugly one just so I can say, finish her? But nah, the guy's brain works in weird ways. Even when the girl's the bad guy, just cause she's pretty, he doesn't want to hurt her. She stands up, saying their little friendship is touching and all, but why was he acting so sentimental? Even if a bunch of trash teamed up, it wouldn't make a difference. Her name's Seer, and in real life, that bastard's name is Chi-Seolium, the Thunder Queen. But Harkin tells her that every time someone tries to kill him, it's always the same. They get humiliated and tossed out like garbage, and she's no exception. Seer warns him he's going to regret everything he just said, but he calmly shows his watch and activates a slot. A mask and a sword appear. What the hell? The guy just equipped a plus 99 legendary set, but let's be honest, that mask is always cringe. Man, it's almost impossible to put a mask on a character and not look cringe. It's like a challenge. Nobody can win. He points his sword and tells her he's heard this same speech so many times before. Sarah loses it, calls him an arrogant bastard, and gives the order to kill him. He just smiles, saying she still hasn't learned that it's impossible. But then, boom, he gets stabbed from behind. Classic. His so-called friends betray him and land the blow. His HP drops fast and he can barely move. He hits the ground like trash, trying to understand what just happened. The friends, in air quotes, tell him they're sorry. We all need to make money too, they say. One of them begs him not to hate them, saying this was the best option. Of course, Harkin turns around in shock, and now that damn Seer is laughing right in his face. Alright, now I don't care how pretty she is. I just want to see that neck sliced. She steps closer, calling him an idiot. He actually chose friendship over money. And now she says it's time for him to be deleted from the game. Damn Witch, standing there in the sunlight, mocking him, saying that from now on, every time he logs in, he won't be able to make any progress. They'll keep his body trapped right there and kill him every single time. Even someone like him who's insanely experienced in the game wouldn't be able to escape. And she knows full well that in real life he's got nothing. This game is all he has, which means losing it means losing everything, going back to being a total nobody. Harkin tries to stand and fight, but he's got no HP left. Blood's pouring out. Man, they already stabbed him in the chest, but now the arm, the other arm, the stomach, come on. And that wicked woman still has the nerve to say thank you. Those guys, they're just like me, huh? Betrayed their buddy just because of her. They're scum. I take back every compliment I ever gave. Harkin's still there, barely holding on. Why you do this to me? He asks. I did so much for our guild. His face is destroyed, but all he asks now is to just be finished off already. They were hurting too, having to go through with it. But someone offered them hundreds of millions to kill the guy. How could they say no? Our protagonist can't believe it. All this over money? They have no clue how much he's already done for them. Worth more than any fortune. They used to call each other family. As he fades into unconsciousness, all he can see is their cold faces staring back at him. Then the system starts flooding the screen with messages. You died. Warning, you can't play for the next 48 hours. He wakes up inside his capsule back in his room. And yeah, he's messed up. Somehow, he really did lose everything in the game. Must be one of those hardcore games. You die. You lose it all. The game's called Warlord. As soon as it launched, it blew up worldwide. A game with AI and the potential to earn insane amounts of money. Across the entire globe, if there was one thing he was good at, it was playing that game. In real life, people always called him trash. But there was a guy who saw him kill a goblin and asked about his level. The dude was strong. He held out his hand and asked if Harkin wanted to start a guild. Said they could work together and grow. Harkin looked at that world and saw the one place where he truly belonged. But now, man, he says there's no way in hell he's forgiving those bastards. Grabs his jacket, storms out of the house, shouting that he's gonna find them in real life and kill every last one of them. The revenge arc has already begun. Obviously, though, when he tries calling everyone, nobody's answering. He mutters that there's no way those bastards deserve to live a good life after what they did to him. And here it comes, the traffic light, the truck, the blinding headlights, the classic scene you already know. That's right, folks. It's him, Mr. Truck finishes our boy off. And not just any truck, a garbage truck, for crying out loud. What a disgrace. What a humiliating way to go. Lying there bleeding out, he glances over and sees his phone still on the ground, the call failing, telling him the number can't be reached. And all he can think is, out of every truck in the world, why did it have to be a garbage truck? Face down on the pavement, he groans that no, he can't die like this. Not now. Not after getting betrayed like that. Not before getting revenge on those traitors and that damn woman. Then suddenly, that classic flash of light. A system screen pops up, connecting, verifying player progress. Welcome, Herkin. Complete the tutorial and survive the labyrinth of the Minotaur. Right away, Herkin knows this is Warlord, but it's a tutorial mission. What the hell's going on? Someone nearby calls out to him, yelling at the newbie to wake up and focus. They've got a Minotaur to kill. Several players had already died, and clearly, this challenge was basically impossible. Herkin stands and wonders out loud why the Minotaur is even here in the tutorial. That thing was removed years ago for being way too hard. His teammate looks at him confused and asks what he's talking about. Warlord only launched 10 months ago. And that hits Herkin like a truck all over again. He just keeps repeating to himself, 10 months, 10 months, 10 months, while reaching for his sword. The other players are trying to form a plan, talking about signals and timing, but then they notice Herkin already charging ahead, running straight into the fight. They shout, asking if the guy's crazy. What, you trying to die or something? The Minotaur swings the axe, but just then, with one glance to the side and a series of perfect slashes, Herkin carves it up. The beast collapses instantly. The rest of the players are stunned. Who is this guy? How'd he kill that monster in a single attack? They approach him impressed and say, hey man, you got real talent. I don't usually offer this to just anyone, but why don't you join my guild? Of course, Herkin's not even a little excited. He stands up and says he made a decision not long ago. They ask what decision, and he slashes one of them across the chest. Just like that. What the hell? He tells them straight he's not trusting anyone in this life. Not anymore. From now on, he's going solo. The hero slayer, Herkin, had returned. He exits the VR capsule, and when he looks around, he realizes he's in some kind of gaming cafe or exhibition. I don't know why, but I love these kinds of stories, the ones where the virtual world connects to the real world, where the money you earn online actually affects your real life. I don't know. It just hits different. And that's when Herkin remembers. 5 years ago, he was dirt poor, broke, ruined, completely screwed. The only way he could play back then was by coming to these shops, which just proves it. He really had gone back. What now? The dude's laser focused, he drops the headset and bolts out the door like a man on a mission. He's got 5 years worth of knowledge from the future. If he uses that right, his revenge is guaranteed. Right away, he slams his credit card down and says, I want the V model delivered to my home. Now, the lady at the counter says, sure, but like, how's he gonna pay? Wasn't he broke? She literally calls him out. You don't have money, you broke-ass loser. The look on his face says it all. He ran all that way just to find out the obvious. Then he smacks his forehead, remembering the life he used to live. Of course he didn't have money. If he did, why would he have been gaming in a place like that? So now the question is, what the hell is he gonna do next? But now the problem is, he's got the knowledge but no capsule to play. And the more time he wastes, the more behind he's going to fall. And then suddenly, a voice echoes through the room, asking what he's waiting for. It's her, Seer, saying the strong don't fear challenges and hesitation is a luxury not allowed in battle. They should rise above fear and become true warlords. Ranked number 1 in the world, Thunder Queen Seer. Wait, hold up, she's been the top since the beginning? Of course it had to be this exact wretched woman our boy wants to kill more than anything. Right then, he turns and says she's right. This is no time to hesitate. Cut to him back at home, the capsule is already there. The tech guy who set it up says everything's installed, ready to go, and he's heading out. How did our boy get the money? Obviously, like any honest person would, from a loan shark. Even better, it's a loan shark that caters specifically to gamers who want VR capsules. Least suspicious guy in the world is right there saying, if it's 10 million you need, I got you. Of course, he still stabs a knife between Herkin's fingers and warns him. If he doesn't pay back, life's gonna turn into a living hell. Still, Herkin accepts the deal. He's ready to walk through hell if that's what it takes to get revenge on those bastards. He immediately logs in and the system starts identifying the user. Confirmed. Herkin. Welcome to the world of Warlord. Now that I think about it, this dude really does look like Jack Frost from that Disney movie, the ice guy. He stands there waiting. It's been a while, but she should be showing up soon. If I remember right, her name was Eri. And boom, there she is. The goddess herself. Man, the design of the women in this story is serious. She's got that slightly demonic look going on. She introduces herself as Ariadne and says she'll be helping him with his career. That's probably the most Brazilian-sounding name I've ever seen in a manhwa, but hey, let's go with it. She holds out her hands and tells the adventurer to choose one of the starting classes. He's got 3 to pick from. First up, Warrior. They're frontline fighters, a class for those who like action. Herkin knows warriors are solid. He's played them before, but the problem is, they're not that great for solo players. She starts to explain the cleric class, but he immediately says, pass. No way in hell is he signing up to help anyone else. She's like, alright, fair enough, only one left then. She wishes him a fun adventure. So what's left? Probably mage, right? Doesn't even show the choice on screen, apparently. But I'm guessing that's what's left. Seems like it, as next thing you know, there's an old man floating on a book welcoming the young seeker of knowledge. His name's Gulkato, and he's here to guide him along the path of magic. The old man starts explaining the types of magic, but Herkin immediately cuts him off. He wants to learn dark magic. That clearly doesn't sit well. Gulko tells him he must have misheard. You mean earth magic, right? Gotta be that. But Herkin insists he's here for dark magic. Gulko warns him, you better think twice, kid. Dark magic's powerful, sure, but it'll tear your soul apart. Herkin doesn't even flinch, says he understands the risks and just wants to learn already. He knows this is exactly what he needs. Right away, the old man changes. His face twists and morphs into a skeleton. All right then, he says, it's been a long time since I've seen someone choose this path. If he's truly ready, all he has to do is place his hand on the skill book. But again, the skeleton warns him, choose wisely. This path isn't easy. Before he can even finish his sentence, Herkin slams his hand down. The skeleton laughs. Oh, this is going to be fun. And man, when I said this reminded me of solo leveling, I didn't think it'd remind me this much. In Herkin's own words, in my past life, I watched a video of a necromancer player who could solo bosses. And right now, for someone who's decided to get revenge all on his own, that's exactly the kind of power he needs. And just like that, man, he's officially a necromancer. Title, Innate Necromancer. Skill unlocked, Skeleton Fragment. He activates it right away and a little skull appears in his hand. He drops it to the ground and the bones start consuming mana, slowly forming and reconstructing themselves right in front of him. His first summon, a success. I kinda like this part, honestly. Like he crafts the little skeleton, feeds it mana, and boom, it turns into a big bony brute. Herkin immediately says it's time to start leveling up. He wants to know where the training dungeon is. But then he hears a noise behind him, turns around, and the skeleton's head has already fallen off. He's standing there wondering how the hell his skeleton already broke. Crossing a portal with a hand on his face, he realizes, yeah, this class is not gonna be easy to grind. The skeletons from that video look terrifying. Why does his look like some smiley cartoon buddy? He checks his skill list and sees it. Proficiency, rank F. Right now, the only thing he can summon is a single skeletal warrior. He immediately understands he's limited because his proficiency is so low, which means it's time to grind. Hearing growls behind him, he spots a pack of wolves approaching. These are training mobs called charcoal wolves. They're supposed to be weak. For Herkin, it's the perfect target to test out his new skeleton and see what it can do. He summons again and sends the bony boy charging toward the wolves. As soon as it detects an enemy, the skeleton shifts into combat mode and lets out a roar. Wait, how does a skeleton even roar? It's got no lungs. Then again, it's a skeleton, man. If you're gonna bring logic into this, it shouldn't even be able to move without muscles. So whatever. The wolves start backing off and Herkin gives the command to attack. The bony guy charges forward and hey, not bad. It's performing better than expected. At this pace, Herkin figures he'll be leveling up in no time. But of course reality hits. His skeleton gets completely obliterated in one swipe. Just poof, gone. And there he is, wondering how the only skill he received can't even handle the weakest monster in the game. The little skeleton falls in pieces at his feet like some sad puppy, and now Herkin is not amused. He stares at the system, certain something's wrong. Then he sees it. He could have chosen between attack mode, defense mode, or special mode. So he resummons it, this time selecting defense mode. Problem is, the wolves are already having a field day playing fetch with the bones. The poor skeleton can't even take form properly. So Herkin switches to special mode just to see what it does. And the skeleton starts doing Fortnite emotes, dancing. At that point, he realizes the video he watched must have been a total bait. He picked the worst class possible. His entire revenge plan is collapsing. The kid's so desperate, he even tries to delete his account. But the system says accounts under 3 months old can't be deleted, which means he can't change classes, can't swap characters, can't restart. And on top of that, he's got loan shark problems to deal with. At this point, he's ready to get hit by another truck and just start life over again. Why the hell does nothing ever go right for this guy? He really thought things were finally gonna line up. But this damn bonehead here is totally useless. It's just standing there throwing little punches. He tells it to stop moving already. The sound is driving him insane. That's when he suddenly remembers something from this system info. A summoned creature comes equipped with an advanced combat learning system. He recalls that when he was attacking those wolves earlier, his skeleton was literally just standing there, holding its own head, watching him, probably learning his movements. Right then he stands up and says, "That damn thing's lucky to have me as a teacher." It might not look like it, but plenty of people have called him a genius before. Even his old guild, he was the one who trained most of the top-ranking players. The first thing the skeleton needed to learn was this: in combat, if you don't dodge, you die. And boom, it takes a punch straight to the face and goes flying onto its back. But the little guy gets up all cheerful, ready to take another one right to the jaw and gets slammed into the wall again. Herkin yells at it to stop acting like an idiot and just standing there getting hit. If you're gonna take the attack, you might as well think a counter or something. You can't just sit there tanking hits. He asks if the skeleton understands. It wipes its face, resets its stance, and gets ready. Cut to another fight. This time, they're back against the wolves. But now the skeleton crouches down, dodges an attack, and slices one under the throat and another in the gut. Not only is this guy a necromancer, turns out he's a monster trainer too, man. And now the skeleton's standing there all sparkly, looking at him like a proud puppy. Hirkin tells it to cut it out with that look. They're still in battle. No time for distractions. But he admits that last move wasn't bad at all. Proficiency with skeleton fragment has increased. That message pops up 3 times and both of them are glowing gold. Hirkin says you passed the test, just as he levels up. Then the scene shifts to Figgis Castle in the beginner's area. As he walks through the streets, players are chatting about joining guilds, calling each other family, forming parties to hunt in the spider forest. All that early game buzz. Hirkin's walking through, thinking maybe it really was worth it to teach that skeleton how to fight. It wouldn't be long before he was clearing dungeons solo. But the real challenge starts now, reaching level 10. Suddenly though, something catches him off guard. A chubby guy grabs his arm and demands to know if he's not gonna apologize for bumping into him. Hirkin instantly realizes he's dealing with low-tier thugs. The guys are yelling and talking big, but he's ignoring them, wondering if he should just wipe them out already. One of them gets pissed when Hirkin sighs mid-convo and winds up to punch him. But out of nowhere, this tan blonde guy shows up and blocks the attack. Says, just cause the kid bumped into you doesn't mean you can go around beating people down. This dude's got that solo leveling vibe, reminds me of that American guy who shows up all ripped and ready. The thug asks if Blondie's with Hirkin, and he says nope. But judging by Hirkin's face, this guy's no joke. His arms are bulging with veins, and he's got that weird, cool energy to him. This bastard is none other than Chev the Slayer. Sounds kinda Mexican, right? He's one of the highest-ranked warrior-class players. Hirkin has no clue what the hell this guy is doing here. He tries to say something, but the thug spits on the ground and tells Chev to move if he's not with the kid, because they got business to finish. Chev doesn't seem interested in that one bit. He just flares up his aura, and instantly, the chubby dude, even Hirkin, starts trembling. Hirkin's got no stats yet, after all. Chev says he'll have to get payback, because the guy just punched his palm. One of the goons behind the fat guy suddenly blurts out, wait, that's Chev the Slayer, guild master of Red Bull. That's one of the top 30 guilds. Okay, top 30 is not that impressive, but he's well known for being addicted to fighting. Someone tries to ask what a guy like that is doing here, but Chev only wants to know one thing, you want to keep fighting or not. The thug folds instantly, stammering an apology and running off like his life depends on it. Chev laughs and says, man, this world's amazing. You can solve everything just by talking. He slaps Hirkin on the shoulder and goes, hey there, you baddest little punk, you good? But Hirkin brushes his hand off and walks away, telling him not to bother trying to help. Chev's left standing there, confused, trying to figure out why that kid's so cold. Meanwhile, our boy is already speeding off, putting as much distance between them as possible. For a moment, he actually felt intimidated by that overwhelming power. He knows it's because this new body of his doesn't have any stats yet, but he swears the next time they meet, he'll be someone completely different. And let's go. Time for a dungeon run, right? Except no. We cut to him just sitting there, all sad and shaken up. The power gap was ridiculous. Seer and Chev were pretty much on the same level at that point, and obviously if he wants revenge, he's going to have to get a lot stronger. Right then, the flamestone wolf charges at him from above. But out of nowhere, his little skeleton buddy dives in with a lance, slams the beast to the ground, finishes it off, and levels up. The little guy is sparkling, smiling proudly at Hirkin, who mutters that taking 3 whole days to reach level 10 was way too long. And just like that, the skeleton looks all deflated. At least the system congratulates him. With that, there were no more monsters left in the training dungeon. His beginner tag was officially removed, and his starter rewards were being transferred. On his wrist appears the War Watch. Status, quests, map, inventory, messages, everything's there now. The guy's hyped. If there's one thing he loves, it's looking at his own status window. And it's just as trash as expected. Level 10. Class, Necromancer. Strength, 3. Stamina, 3. Intelligence, 5. Mana, 5. The system tells him to distribute his stat points, but he hesitates. And here we go, about to be reckless. He says a Necromancer should normally pump mana and intelligence, but he dumps everything into strength. Boom. Strength goes up by 50 points. He's now glowing with a strong aura, clearly pleased with himself. Meanwhile, the skeleton is devastated. The idiot didn't raise his mana at all, which means the poor guy won't be any stronger. He's even tearing up. Hirkin smacks him on the head and tells him to snap out of it. He hasn't given up on being a Necromancer. What he needs to understand is that for now, boosting mana won't help much. Early game, strength makes a much bigger difference. Plus, he needs some power to pass on his old skills to the skeleton. The truth is, he's putting all his hopes into the skeleton's ability to learn. And now the little guy's sparkling again, clearly moved. Hirkin tells him to get his bony butt back into training already. Also, he should know, there are ways to make up for lacking certain stats. Cut to the Hunters Association in the city of Figgis. A guy flashes a card saying a brand new quest just dropped. Everyone's scrambling to get it. They've been waiting since yesterday. Meanwhile, Hirkin walks past, thinking these quests are garbage anyway. It's almost funny watching people fight over this stuff. He heads to the counter. Yo, my man, got any quests? Mind if I take a peek at the list? The dwarf says, sure, lad, but you should know the ones on this table are the toughest around. Nobody's had the guts to accept them. Be sure you're ready. But when Harkin looks, he sees nothing but trash. Of course, with his knowledge from the future, he knows there's a hidden treasure here. A quest in the Bima Mountains. Objective, eliminate all the creatures there. Reward, 10 gold. The old man warns him, you sure, lad? That mission's low level and barely pays anything. But Harkin accepts right away. He knows that clearing this seemingly boring quest before reaching level 15 earns the Prospect title. Titles were a great way to gain extra stats, and Prospect boosts intelligence and mana by percentage, which makes it the perfect start for building his overpowered character. Once outside, he mutters that all he's missing now is equipment. Cut to the Bima Mountains, and the dude is decked out in full clown swag. Clown shirt, bunny helmet, bear boots. He looks like the kind of character I'd make and think, damn bro, you're looking fire. You're insane. Harkin, though, absolutely devastated by the outfit from hell. Obviously, man, he didn't have enough money left for himself after spending everything on his skeleton buddy. And now, what can he do? That's just the life of someone defeated. He's gonna have to finish this quest fast so he can finally afford some decent gear. While running, he mutters that he needs to wrap this up before anyone in this world sees him like this. But suddenly, from the bushes, a bloody hand reaches out. It's some guy all messed up begging for help. Looks like another one who got betrayed by his party. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the same region, another player appears, decked out in full flashy armor, shouting that he's ready to clear out the Bima Mountains. The guy's full of himself. I think I've got real talent for this game. At this rate, I'll be a top ranker in no time. Then someone nearby yells for help, saying his friend's hurt. He rushes over, asking what happened, and the guy explains that a wolf attacked them. They barely escape and don't even have a healing potion. You already know where this is going. The poor dude pulls out a potion, telling them not to worry. He's got them. The guy thanks him and says they'll totally pay him back. But right as he's talking, another dude sneaks up behind and wham, slams a club into his skull. Now the guy who just whacked him says thanks. He'll make sure to put all that gear to good use. The poor victim, confused, asks why. You guys are cowards. But the guy just tells him he's the idiot for falling for such an obvious trap. Player Multi has been killed. And yup, his war watch drops. Damn, this game really is that brutal. You die, you lose your stuff, that's it. The group starts laughing, saying it's always satisfying to kill some newbie who spends money. One of them is literally wearing 30 watches up his arm and says it's time to find the next prey. This was the P. Kitty Guild known as the Ralph family. Meanwhile, our boy and his skeleton are off in the forest fighting wolves. This game's super realistic, man. Just like a bunch of other MOs, you got the regular wolf, then blue wolf, red wolf, purple wolf, same thing, just stronger and a different color. Harkin snaps his fingers in full Hisoka cosplay and switches his skeleton to attack mode. The bunny beast goes wild, slashing everything in its path. The warrior skeleton takes down an ancient tree wolf and earns 375 XP. Harkin notes that these wolves are nothing to his little monster now. Definitely worth investing all his gear into it. Tearing up a bit, he says, a real gamer doesn't care about looks. What matters is efficiency. The skeleton's standing there, all mood, clearly feeling the love. Harkin snaps at him to stop being dramatic. They've still got mobs to clear. But then, twang, a glow from the side, and bam, skeleton takes an arrow right to the head. He's standing there, hand on his skull like, damn, I just took an arrow to the dome. Then the group approaches. Yep, it's the Ralph family. The mage steps forward, apologizing. Says he thought the skeleton was a monster from far away. He says sorry again, and Harkin replies that it's fine. But he's no fool. He already spotted the bloody weapon and the stack of watches on the guy's wrist. That's more than enough to know what kind of players they are. Still, bold as ever, Harkin says he forgives them. On one condition, they give him a mana potion. The mage says that's too bad. They don't have any potions. But hey, when you level up, you recover mana anyway. So if Harkin wants, they could help him grind a little. Harkin asks if he's sure. The guy nods, yeah, it's our fault. Least we can do. Look at that, they say. Monsters just spawn at the perfect time. We'll weaken them, and you just land the finishing blows to grab the XP. Sound good? Our boy agrees, and as soon as the guy turns his back, he whispers to his buddies to remember the plan. First, they were going to aggro the monsters and draw them in. Then the guy with the fringe would cast a buff on the wolves to make them stronger. And finally, they'd let one of the beasts break formation and charge straight at the kid, catch him off guard, and kill him on the spot. But their smug little setup falls apart real quick when they see the skeleton, absolutely wrecking one in a single strike. Harkin praises him, genuinely impressed. That was a clean kill. Nice job. Keep it up, you guys are helping out. Now the trio realizes, crap, the guy can actually handle himself even against buffed monsters. So they escalate, let multiple wolves loose in his direction, hoping the chaos will distract him. And while he's focused forward, they move in from behind, swinging a club straight for his head. Looks like it's going to land, but Harkin just crouches and dodges it clean. Then, with one fluid motion, he slashes, and the guy's mask rips off right as his body splits open. The other two freeze. Then snap, Herkin's fingers go off and the skeleton charges in, blue mana flaring, sprinting like hell with those adorable lion paw boots. The two scream, begging him to wait, saying they can talk, but it's too late. Holes in the chest, blood on the grass. Skeleton takes one. Herkin takes the other, and bodies hit the ground like confetti. Our protagonist speaks coldly. You're the kind of people I hate the most. Bastards who stab others in the back. If it had been the old him, maybe this would have worked. But too bad, he's not that person anymore. One of them offers to give back the items to be spared, but Herkin just apologizes. He doesn't trust anyone anymore. Then slash straight across the throat. Player Ralph has been killed, and 8 more watches drop to the ground. Herkin is stunned. That bastard had killed 8 other players. Such a shame. Now he's stuck with all these lovely items. Truly tragic. As he says that, the skeleton is busy stomping the guy's ribcage in. Cute on the outside, savage on the inside. Our boy wonders why his precious skeleton's acting like that. He puts a hand on its head and transfers some gear. The little guy immediately lights up, now fully equipped and sparkling with joy. Even blushes, all emotional about his new gear. Herkin tells him not to care so much about looks. What matters in this game is stats, says the same guy who just went full fashion mode himself. Skeleton's looking at him like, "Brew, don't even. You clearly care." But Herkin's thrilled. Those unclaimed war watches, a gold mine. See, when you sell a dead player's watch, a random item from their inventory drops. So what did you get? Dark Goblin pants, boosts mana and intelligence. Ancient Tree Essence sword, more mana buffs. Demonic Curse skillbook, and actual gold. Better loot than most dungeons. An absolute jackpot. And thanks to all that, he finally got what he was looking for. A creepy, ugly mask. He slaps it on, looks totally cringe, and says from now on he's recording all his gameplay, because having an identity is important. In that moment, he remembers someone else who once said the exact same thing. A guy he talked to about going viral wearing a mask for branding. They joked about calling it the ha-ho mask. Back to the present, Herkin says the game's changed. He doesn't want anyone else involved in his life, and this mask will be proof that he's going full solo. Well, kinda solo, because he's still going to battle with his skeleton. They jump through a portal, entering the dungeon in the Bhima Mountains. And just like I said earlier, look at him in that mask, man. He seriously needs a hide equipment option. Now he's hunting blue werewolves, the basic mobs in this region. It's definitely not easy, but with the gear he's got now, and he's feeling confident. Another sprint with the skeleton, and after a few hours, the big guy gives a thumbs up. They hadn't run into a single monster the entire time. Herkin's sitting there holding his head, saying none of it makes sense. If someone had already cleared this dungeon, he would receive a notification by now. So where were the monsters? That's when he notices the skeleton slicing at the wall, and as he gets closer, he sees a dark portal. A message pops up. You discovered a special dungeon. Do you want to enter? Oh boy, here we go. He's about to fall into the statue room and get murdered. These dungeons that show up inside other dungeons, they're usually way harder, but the rewards are way better too. The catch is, once you go in, you either finish it or you die in there. And let's be honest, I've never seen a protagonist back out of one of these. But even Herkin says maybe the smarter move would be to leave. If he dies, he'll be locked out of the game for 2 days, which would completely derail his progress. Still, he enters anyway, of course. Says all he has to do is clear it, and it'll be fine. The sunlight blasts him in the face, and now he's standing in the middle of the Colosseum. Right away, he gets that gut feeling that something terrifying is coming. The ground starts shaking. Then up ahead, a massive werewolf with 3 eyes appears. A corrupted creature. Its level? Question marks. Looks like Herkin knows what it means when something's labeled as corrupted. But before he can even react, the thing's claw is already flying toward his face. He manages to block it, but gets launched backward and crashes into the wall hard. The skeleton, poor thing, barely has time to understand what's going on, but still gets into position, ready to fight. Meanwhile, the lunatic werewolf is laughing, wondering how he got so lucky. Corrupted creatures are tied to the game's main questline. Herkin calls out to his skeleton, saying if they don't kill this thing today, they're skipping dinner. Once again, they charge in. The skeleton sets up a launch assist and hurls him into the air. The werewolf charges up, fangs out, ready to bite. But Herkin activates a new skill, Inflict Curse. The monster's 3 eyes glaze over like it's hypnotized. Where's our boy? You might don't know what just happened. Suddenly, slash. He chops the werewolf's arm clean off. The beast roars in agony, and its stats drop by 10%. I mean, sure, it lost a whole arm. Definitely worse than 10% stats. Except, now the damn thing regenerates the arm. Okay, yeah, 10% debuff sounds like a way better deal now. It charges again, now under rage mode. Herkin draws his sword and says, special dungeons are never easy. I was saving this for later, but the time has come. He taps his war watch and activates a slot. A dark and cyan aura begins to surge, forming a swirling orb of energy around him. What the hell just happened? Where'd all that power come from? Kid just went full transformation mode. See, this slot-on system is one of Warlord's unique features. When players activate it, they temporarily draw power from the world of Warlord itself, manifesting a kind of supercharged form. This form, though, varies from player to player, and apparently, you don't get to choose it. Because of the massive boost it gives, people call it ultimate mode. The giant werewolf comes charging in, jaws open, but Herkin sidesteps with perfect timing. Now the creature can't land a single hit. Herkin's dodging everything like a total acrobat. Another claw swipe, he steps back and mutters, "This is what I expected from a boss. Power, speed, reflexes. Everything's on a different level." And judging by how strong this thing feels, he figures he could survive maybe 3 hits at most. But that's not how this ends. He slashes again. The monster groans in pain and he grins. That's what makes this game fun. But suddenly, his expression shifts. The werewolf stomps the ground with full force. Oh crap. Now he's suspended in midair, hand on his face, muttering. I forgot about the rage phase. But the werewolf had also forgotten something. Look who's charging in. The skeleton, back on the counterattack, tearing the beast's arm clean off. Herkin shouts for him to use the move they've been practicing. The werewolf flinches, startled, and the two of them dash in, 1 slash each. Man, they really love that glowing blue cut. And this time, oh yeah, that hit sliced deep. There's no way it's getting up from that. Honestly, our boy is a pretty humble necromancer. I mean, really, all he's got is 1 skeleton. I was the one saying this was gonna be a copy of Solo Leveling, but so far, it's doing its own thing. With a flashy little gamer-style effect, the mission is complete. Beam McCave subjugated. He earns 10 gold. The skeleton, for defeating such a powerful enemy, receives a fragment to promote to rank E. Herkin also gets 20,000 gold and a werewolf pelt. Kinda feels like a lot of gold, doesn't it? On top of that, he obtains the Corrupted Tracker's necklace. Plus 18 to all stats, can't be sold. And it's tier chronic, which is even above unique. When he sees the name Corrupted Tracker, something seems to click. He recognizes it. Then 3 new titles are registered, promising newcomer, boost intelligence and magic. Hero Challenger gives more stamina. Corrupted Tracker's title, special effect unclear. Herkin realizes this is all tied to the very first chapter of the main questline, the Count of Corruption. The main quest is the backbone of Warlord's story, the foundation of the entire game world. Because of that, the rewards are always insane, and every player wants to be part of it. It's the game's core content and the most valuable thing to pursue. Back in his previous life, Herkin only got involved around chapter 4. But now he's shaking, stunned that he's already triggered it this early. He smiles and says he just found a gold mine and logs out on the spot. Back home, there's a news feed. The Hydra Guild has officially entered the final chapter of Count of Corruption and aims to complete it within 3 months. Herkin stares at the screen, devastated. The quest he just unlocked is already on the verge of being finished. He knows this is a total waste. Maybe he should just give up and start preparing for the next chapter. But then, his expression shifts. He remembers something. This might actually be a rare opportunity. The whole game world is hyper-focused on this storyline. Hype is at its peak. Of course, no one wants to ignore the first main quest in a game like this. But what if a video tied to this quest drop right now? It could blow up, go completely viral. And since he's been recording everything, he has the footage. All he has to do is upload it to YouTube. Problem is, he needs an editor, and there's only one person for the job. The one known in his past life as the god of editing. Name's Romani. Now I'm honestly a little confused. I don't want to jump the gun and say she's a girl. Let's wait for something more solid. Could just be a really soft-looking guy with pink hair. She receives an edit request from some level 15 new and thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, I said she, but again, who knows? That glossy red lip might still belong to a dude. She's assuming it's just some spoiled kid with too much money trying to flex with a fancy video. But when she actually watches it, her face changes. Now she's all smiles, saying this is exactly what she was looking for. Her name is Romy. In-game, she goes by Hellmouth. Scene changes to a tall building, and here comes another girl. Oh no, I already know who this is. You're that Thunder Witch, aren't you? She calls in her assistant and demands info about this video. A level 15 player took down a corrupted werewolf alone. The guy tells her the team already looked into it, says it's not a big deal. The werewolf was low level anyway. But with that pouty mouth of hers, she says it again. I want him. Bring that kid to me. Now, it's her, no doubt, Chasilian, the #1 ranked player and Thunder Queen. Not long after, Herkin is freaking out. The video he posted on his channel, which had literally 0 subscribers, is already at 6,000 views. Finally, a story that treats view counts realistically. Some stories act like a guy with no presence uploads one video and suddenly has 70 million subs. If only it worked like that. Herkin, staying humble, even says, in my past life, it took me months and months to reach this. Meanwhile, Romany's already messaging him, asking if he's seen the views. The fact that she reached out first after editing shows she's at least mildly interested. He replies dryly, yes, I saw it. A clear move to shut the conversation down. But she tries to take credit, saying it's crazy. That's the kind of talent I have. Although she adds, of course your footage wasn't bad either. Cue the red roses. Seems like Herkin assumes she's a man, or maybe she is. This world's dangerous man. He lies down in his capsule. Meanwhile, she texts him again, asking when the next video's coming. Problem is, he has no idea what to do next to pull in attention. It's not like you can find a corrupted creature every day. But as the saying goes, strike while the iron's hot. Time to find something new to post. And one more person impressed by the masked kid's video? Shev the Slayer. The only thing bugging him is that this masked guy kinda reminds him of someone. Then we meet her. Hey there, girl. Yell, a member of the Red Bull Guild. She asks what he's talking about. He brings up the masked kid. She tells him to stop watching it so much. Of course, he thinks the guy's familiar, considering how many times he's watched that video. Shev admits he knows that, but something still feels off. He's fired up. See, when someone starts this game, they usually hesitate. They're stiff. They don't move like they do in real life. But that kid, he moved like a pro. Even his summon looked like it had been trained. He keeps rambling and Yell cuts him off. Okay, I get it. Can you shut up for like 1 second? She shoves him, saying they gotta go. They're going live in 5 minutes. He turns and tells her he always appreciates her. She just rolls her eyes and tells him to get out there and put on a decent show. The stadium is absolutely packed. More than 200,000 people bought tickets. 200,000? Seriously. All just to watch Shev, the leader of Red Bull. He better watch out. That name's probably copyrighted too. The gates are about to open. He equips his armor. 3, 2, 1. He calls out to the team and sends them into battle. Meanwhile, back in Figus, our boy's feeling hopeless again. The mission he wanted is gone. All that's left is basic stuff like clearing blighted soil or killing 3 wolves that wandered into the city. Obviously, he needs something better, something worth recording and uploading. Then the old guy shows up. Well, if it isn't the adventurer who took the Bima quest yesterday. Name's Houghton. Got a minute? In a separate room, Houghton says he's heard everything. He already knows Herkin was the one who encountered that mutant inside Bima Cave. Herkin is a bit thrown off. He doesn't remember triggering some kind of secret quest or interaction like this. Still, he admits it. Yeah, I saw the werewolf with those weird eyes. Houghton nods just as he suspected. Kid, there's a high chance you ran into a creature exposed to corrupt power. We still don't fully understand who or what they are, but it's clear something's affecting these monsters, driving them mad. And it's obviously getting adventurers killed left and right. He's about to ask for help when Herkin grabs him by the arm, full drama mode. You can count on me. I'll give everything I have for this country. I love this nation and I'll slay these terrible creatures. Yeah, he's laying it on thick. All just to get that secret quest. Houghton says it's still too soon for that kind of responsibility, but Herkin insists that it's not too soon at all. It's actually the perfect moment. Waiting will only lead to more people dying. So Houghton finally gives in, saying if that's how he feels, then he'll give him a chance and see how he does. There's someone named Himbri who lives at Bangsu Castle east of Figus. Houghton hands him a recommendation letter so he can learn a few things from this person. The item appears right away, Teachings of a Himbri. All he has to do is find the guy and deliver the letter. Not even a second later, Herkin shouts that he's already at the door. He's pumped. Looks like he knows exactly who Himbri is and can't wait to become his student. Himbri is one of the 7 disciples of the legendary mage Boken, an NPC famous in the game world, someone every mage dreams of meeting, because training under him means having a chance to unlock some of the best skills in the game. Herkin's already skipping along, ready to head out, but then he suddenly stops and says he nearly forgot there's something he needs to do first. Cuts the forest. He calls for the skeleton, tosses the summon, and there it is. Turns out, he still had some leftover loot from the last fight. First, he takes the werewolf skull he didn't sell. The system asks if he wants to use it to strengthen the skeleton, and he agrees. The skull appears on the bony boy's head, instantly boosts his endurance by 2 points. Same moment, he pulls out the corrupted tracker's necklace and equips it. All stats plus 18 plus a few class-based buffs too. With that, his prep work is done, and now he pulls out 2 more skeleton fragments and tosses them on the ground. Boom, 2 more skeletons. But they're separate from the original, you know? No matching outfits or gear or anything. And for some reason, his first skeleton looks devastated now that he's not the only one. Poor guy probably thought he was special. Herkin tells him to get used to it. From now on, they'll be fighting as a trio. Man, our protagonist really betrayed his skeleton, huh? The little guy just wanted to be the one and only. Now we're back in combat. A giant level 25 forest beast comes charging in with a claw swipe. Herkin, thanks to a stat boost he got earlier, is dodging like it's nothing. He looks startled at one point like he's about to block an attack. But it turns out it was all part of the plan. His skeleton charges in from above, except this one seems kinda weak, man. It gets smacked in the face and goes flying. Herkin is furious. This idiot still doesn't understand anything about blind spots. The skeleton goes in again, just to get slapped even harder and launched across the field. Herkin's like, why did the second idiot just copy the exact same thing the first one did? Aren't they supposed to learn from each other? Meanwhile, the legendary skeleton steps up all proud, like it's his turn to shine. And weirdly, Herkin is blushing. What the hell? He hops in with full swag. Sure, this one will get it right. But nope, he takes a hit to the head and his skull goes flying. Now he's absolutely seething. You idiots, he shouts. They're all just standing there holding their skulls like, ow. Herkin wants to know if they even have brains. Well, technically no, but still, how long until they figure out that they can't just take hits head on in a fight? At the very least, they should be smart enough to reposition themselves when they're under threat. If one distracts the enemy, the others should move in from a blind spot. But clearly, the skeletons are just standing there like, oh, what's a blind spot? Herkin's visibly disappointed. He thought leveling up and equipping the necklace would make it easier to manage them, but now that there are 3 of them, they seem even worse at teamwork. It's not that they can't fight. In fact, what he taught the first one gets passed on to the others. But the problem is, up until now, he only taught them how to fight alone. So they have no idea how to function as a team. Worst part, it costs 3 times more mana to keep them active, and the results so far? Worse than before. So he gets up and says, whatever. They get level 20, which was the goal, and there's not gonna be any video for now. He tells those boneheads to move it. They're gonna train all the way to Bangsu Castle. As he watches the skeletons shuffle over, he wonders why, even for a moment, he thought he could just sit back and let them do all the work. Unfortunately, this dream of being a chill necromancer who just summons and relaxes. Yeah, not for him. Cut to Bangsu Castle, a lively tavern packed with people. A man walks in from the hall and everyone lights up, excited to talk to him. He's being pulled from all directions while Herkin stands at the door, watching. To him, they're just scavengers, players who don't want to grind or grow on their own. They're leeches, the kind he despises most. One bald guy approaches and asks if Herkin's interested in a really good quest. Herkin just tells him to go screw himself and get lost. Damn, kid's got a mouth on him. He heads for the stairs, hands over Hoten's letter of recommendation, and the guy at the door tells him he can proceed to the 2nd floor. While everyone else is begging to go up and getting blocked, our boy walks through without a care in the world. He's hyped to find out what kind of reward Himbri might give him, especially since it's a secret quest and a rare chance to build a long-term bond with a legendary NPC. But when he steps into the room, it's a mess. Books scattered everywhere, complete chaos. From behind a stack of tomes, a voice asks who he is. Himbri emerges, wanting to know what the kid's doing here. He doesn't remember scheduling a meeting or calling for anyone. Herkin is kinda stunned. He wasn't expecting the legendary mage to be this much of a slob. Still, he introduces himself and says he came with Hoten's recommendation. Ambry looks him up and down and says, well, for someone at that level, you actually seem pretty promising. Pick the black mage class, huh? Well, since you came all the way here, here's your reward. Herkin receives 2 skills, Bone Armor and Helm of Madness. He's glowing red with emotion, practically tearing up as he thanks him. But Himbri casually waves it off and says, that's it, mission's done, now get lost. But that's not what Herkin wanted. He's here to build a relationship with this guy. He needs another quest. He tries to reach out, dodging floating books, swearing he'll do anything. Then Himbri turns and asks, anything, huh? Alright then, he says, grinning. Right that moment, Herkin receives a new mission, Nest's Egg. The reward? Literally nothing. And Herkin realizes it too late. Damn it. I walked straight into this bastard's trap. Outside the building now, someone's walking by in expensive-looking armor. Everyone stops and stares, the gear is clearly top tier and ridiculously expensive. The guy looks around, recognizes the area, and mutters to himself, so this is where the Haho mask is. And who are you, buddy? Slam. The door shuts behind Herkin. He's been kicked out. He can't believe it. He actually got scammed by a damn NPC. He thought he was about to unlock an incredible mission tied to the main quest. Instead, he's stuck chasing some egg with no reward. He's walking away, nearly in tears, when someone suddenly gets in his face and asks what mission he received. Oh wait, it's not just someone. It's that whole pack of desperate beggars again. Herkin's just about ready to explode on all of them when someone yells. Out of the way. It's the armored guy, shoving everyone aside. He walks straight up to Herkin and asks if he has a moment for an important talk. If I had to bet $1 million, I'd say it's that guy from earlier. The one Seer sent to recruit Herkin, the butler-looking dude who was with her. Herkin's not in the mood, but the guy just says, it would be wise for the one wearing the Haho mask to have a quick conversation. They head into an alley, and the man apologizes for the trouble. It's just that back there wasn't exactly the best place for a proper chat. Bro, drop some cash in my account and I'll predict the rest for you. Even though I know exactly who this bastard is and why he's here, Herkin doesn't, at least not yet. But he does know this from the guy's armor alone that he's clearly someone high-ranking. What he doesn't know is who this guy is or how he already knows who he is. The man asks if he's the one they call the Haho mask. Herkin decides to play dumb, throwing a clueless look and asking what mask nonsense he's talking about. He followed him into this alley thinking the guy wanted a casual chat, but he has no idea what all this mask business is. The man with glasses says he heard that Herkin recently received a quest from an NPC named Himbri. Herkin snaps back that he's not here to share information with anyone, dragging him into some alley like this was already pushing it. If this guy's looking to pick a fight, he's welcome to speak plainly and put his account on the line. Truth is, Herkin's acting like a lost idiot on purpose, pretending not to know what's going on. The guy with the glasses stares for a moment, then suddenly lowers his head, extends a hand, and apologizes. Herkin realizes the guy totally bought the act. He casually shakes his hand and tells him not to be so nervous. He's not that scary. As he walks away, he adds, I'll let it slide this time, but maybe stop roaming around looking for trouble. The man with the glasses says nothing. Just then, someone appears beside him, a tall, intimidating woman. She comments that she doesn't think that was the person they're looking for. The man agrees. No way, the guy was a skilled player. Any experienced warlord knows you never shake with the same hand you wear your war watch on. He even wipes his hand afterward like he touched something dirty. Come on, man, really? You're acting like shaking his hand gave you cooties. What am I supposed to say to a guy like that? The girl, who I wish the artist would take more time to properly illustrate, asks if they're going to keep watching Embry. He nods. That's because the nest's egg mission is far too important. They can't afford any unnecessary risks. Before we can admire her design properly, she's already vanished into the shadows again. On Harkin's side, though, he saw everything. He's sure now. These two are part of some secret organization. If they belonged to a public guild or were seeking recognition, they'd have introduced themselves. And testing him like that, that's no behavior of ordinary players. So who the hell were those two? Back in the forest, while his skeletons continue training, Harkin is deep in thought. He's convinced there's something more going on that he's not seeing yet. There's the egg quest and the video he posted. Those two didn't seem interested in who the masked player was. They were focused on whoever triggered the quest. That means he's now stuck doing this mission, and clearly, those people are going to start tailing him, which sucks, because he was trying to keep a low profile. Chastielian alone is already too much for him to deal with. And honestly, I agree. My guy just run. That woman is too much. Meanwhile, speaking of her, here comes her secretary, Park Suji, praising her boss for being incredible today and asking how the recruitment test went. Looks like her guild is actively recruiting. Cielian grumbles that it was a total disaster. Nothing but garbage applicants. How could none of those worthless players be remotely useful? Then Suji mentions the masked boy. She says maybe the kid joined another guild, since he never responded to their invitation. That's when Cielian snaps, shattering a bottle in frustration. She demands to know which guild recruited him. Suji apologizes, saying they're still trying to confirm that. Cielian doesn't care. She tells her to look into it now. She also wants to know what the chairman thinks. Suji replies that he hasn't commented yet, and Cielian scoffs, saying he's probably staying quiet as long as Warlord keeps doing well. Apparently, the guy tried to force her into an arranged marriage when she first mentioned wanting to play this game. Weirdly, Suji is now admiring her boss's body and casually says, "Man, what a gorgeous figure." I wasn't expecting that, but okay then. Everything's a bit of a mess, but it seems like the owner of the game, or at least someone at the top, actually liked her. Honestly, I have no idea what's going on anymore. All I know is she's hot, and our boy wants to kill someone. That's it. Now look at him staring at his reflection in the water, saying it's been a while since he's been here. The Lizardman's Swamp. Since Embry is over at Bangsu Castle, of course the quest would take place in the surrounding area. And considering it's about an egg, it's probably related to a bird, a reptile, or an insect-type monster. Since he's still a low-level player, he decides to check out the places that match those criteria and that he might be able to handle. And the reptile swamp is the only real option, whether that's good or bad. He summons the skeleton and warns him. The monsters here are high level, so it's best to use the enhancement skill he learned last time. It's the madness move where you have to mark the summon and then activate the power. Not that I really got it either if he activates the thing and an A shows up on the skeleton's forehead and the guy turns bright red. He seems pretty hyped, saying the effect looks cool. Time to see how strong it really is. He orders the skeleton to come at him, but here's the catch. The skill also has a chance to make the summon lose its sanity. And obviously, because Murphy's Law exists, things go wrong immediately. The skeleton charges straight at him. Harkin realizes something's off and lands an uppercut that sends the poor skeleton flying like Teen Rocket. Poor guy got launched to the moon. Harkin yells at him not to scream at him like that and starts wondering if this was some kind of bug or what. Also, the strength boost didn't seem all that impressive, so the whole thing's kind of a scam. His thoughts get cut short when a level 30 lizardman sneaks up from behind and tries to chomp on him. He decides this is the perfect time to really test the skills. He activates another madness mark and equips the bone armor for extra strength. The summons are all screaming like crazy now, while the lizardmen are just frozen in place. Harkin says if that's the case, it's time to charge. And bam, full-on brawl, 3 versus 3. But the little skeletons sneak around to their blind spot and slice him up clean. His summon takes out 3 lizardmen, gaining 864 XP and leveling up twice. Now the little guys are kneeling before their master and Harkin's like, alright, this is pretty sweet. The plan for the whole week is clear now. Grind monsters, level up, and search for the egg. But of course, while he's thinking that some shady lady is watching from the shadows, licking her lips. Of course, this game's full of dangerous women. She steps out and introduces herself. My name is Ilya. As you can see, I'm ridiculously gorgeous. I don't even have to say it. No one can resist me. Everyone obeys my will. Any problem I face, I just summon one of my slaves to deal with it. And then she trips and faceplants into some moss. Now she's lying there all confused, wondering what kind of hellhole this is and why she even came here in the first place. Apparently, one of her slaves dragged her there for some dumb reason, only to get himself killed like a complete idiot. Now she's stuck face to face with monsters way above her level, and she can't charm her way out. That's when she spots Harkin nearby. And yep, She immediately starts tearing her clothes like she's got the perfect plan. Herkin hears some weird scream in the distance. He turns to see this chick wobbling over like a total mess. All cute and flirty, she says she hurt her ankle because of the scary monsters, already thinking there's no way he'll be able to resist the charm of her beauty. And then, Herkin just ignores her and keeps walking. She's completely stunned, like, how did he not even glance at her? She starts begging, calling out to Mr. Necromancer for help, while he's already thinking to himself, yep, another crazy one. But man, the girl was so pissed she bit her own lips until they bled, furious that the bastard had the nerve to ignore her. The skeletons were in the middle of a brawl while Herkin just stood there, hand on his face. The crazy woman wouldn't stop following him around, whining that she was dying in pain and didn't know how she'd survive. He tried to pretend she didn't exist, but apparently she'd been tailing him the whole time, throwing herself at his feet and begging. Wherever he went, she was right behind him. What really ticked him off was the fact that someone like her shouldn't even be playing the game if she's just gonna rely on others for everything. So he decides it's best to just deal with her and get it over with. He turns around and flatly asks what kind of help she's looking for. All sweet and innocent, she says, I dropped my little sword in the swamp back there. Could you help me get it? Our boy, dry as ever, tells her that once he grabs that damn thing, she better get the hell away from him. She desperately agrees, swearing she'll never forget his kindness. But she's still got that psycho look on her face, muttering that she's got him now. There was the sword just sitting there stabbed into the middle of a tiny island. She's already saying thanks, and he reminds her again that she better vanish after this. He sends the skeletons to go fetch it. They start doing a trampoline formation to reach it. Meanwhile, she's just standing there with that creepy grin. Turns out, she'd been waiting for him to be without his summons so she could strike. She tries to hit him in the back of the head, saying that's what he gets for ignoring a beauty like her. But before the blow even lands, he suddenly spins around and says, "You're way too slow." He grabs her by the collar and tosses her straight into the swamp. She's screaming, calling him a bastard, and yelling that when she gets out, she'll send her fans after him and have him killed. But Herkin just laughs and tells her to take a look behind her. She turns her head, and bam, the lizardmen have already shown up and she starts getting stomped on. Herkin, completely unfazed, says if she's going to try and fool him, she better come up with something better. He's had enough of being tricked by people like her. He turns his back, saying this was all just a waste of time, tells the skeletons they're leaving. But when he looks again, those damn things were trying to copy her charm routine. All three had bumps on their heads, and he tells them to quit learning weird crap. Just then, the system notifies him, player Ilya has died. He's thrilled, not like he thought he'd get any points or XP from it, since he technically didn't kill her. He remembers her saying something about watching his back and finds it hilarious. Like she would actually have anything like that. But of course, some dudes have been watching that video and keeping an eye on him. Next chapter, boom, he already stabbed the first guy. They say he's the enemy of Lady Ilya and they're here for revenge. Herkin says, buddy, can I ask you something? Why are you going so far for her? It's not like she's ever going to do anything for you, so why are you trying this hard? The chubby one starts laughing maniacally and shouts, because I love her. Herkin just cuts him down saying, yup, you're a weirdo. Now he's remembering all the crap that crazy girl pulled. Obviously, after what happened, he threw her in a swamp and she swore to kill him. He didn't think she'd actually make a huge scene and send a bunch of people to hunt him down. But she did. Made a whole video saying that the cruel necromancer in the swamp killed her. And ever since, he's been hunted by self-proclaimed Ilya fans, which is of course making his life even more of a mess. He was already stressed out about those other weirdos from the alley following him, and now he's got these idiots to deal with too. He's starting to wonder if he should just track that woman down and kill her again, just to make all the trouble at least feel worth it. But after picking up another unclaimed watch, he figures it's not worth the trouble. He gains 5,000 gold and a goblin boot. On top of that, he also gets a rare tier accessory, the Necklace of Promise. The item's worth 800,000. Now that's a game changer. That girl really was amazing. While he's there kissing the watch like it's a long-lost treasure, someone else pops up saying they found Ilya's enemy. And Herkin, he owns it, says yeah, he's the bastard that took down that wretched woman. Suddenly, the memory hits. There were like 30 people lined up in front of him. Now the heat's on, and he knows there's no way he can handle all that. Time to book it. Glancing back, he wonders how that lunatic managed to gather so many weirdos obsessed with her. Then he turns and sends the skeleton crew to handle the mob. Obviously, the mob thinks it's gonna be easy. After all, skeletons are just basic necromancer summons, right? But it turns out it's even easier than anyone expected, because the chubby guy yells something about the power of love and splits them in half. Not that that's a real skill. Dude's just a creep. Since the game's only been out for 10 months and Herkin only started a few weeks ago, most of the players hunting him are much higher level. After a long stretch of running, he finally finds a quiet spot deep in the swamp. With his level still this low, retreating is his only real option. But that's when he notices something odd. Where the hell is he? A purple-tinted swamp? He's never seen this area before, not even in his past life. Suddenly, his eyes light up. He's got an idea. Next scene, the Wannabe Avengers are out in the forest looking for him when the fat guy spots the skeletons. They're just out there dancing around, all cute and goofy. The group's fuming now. Not only did this bastard kill Ilya, Now he's mocking them. The chunky one charges in, screaming that this time he will forgive him. But right in the middle of his dramatic move, something bursts out of the lake and interrupts everything. Before he can even process what's happening, he's grabbed and swallowed whole. The others instantly recognize it. A driving lizard. That thing's the boss of the region, a level 40 monster. And of course, Herkin's off to the side, just quietly watching. He never imagined the nest he'd been looking for would belong to that thing. A boss with absurd defense and HP. Normally it takes a raid group of 20 or more players, all near level 40, to even stand a chance. He remembered seeing something on the forums about this monster being killed recently, so it shouldn't have even been there. But if it's showing up now, that means someone triggered it. Which means if this beast spawned the moment he entered the area, and the quest he's been hunting must be here. While everyone else is getting killed, he's just standing there by a little tree, thinking that if Himbri sent him there, it's because that bastard must have thought he could handle it at level 20. Seriously, that guy was ridiculous to think he even had a shot. Still, he got lucky and ended up with a team, so maybe this could actually work. The damn otaku guys are screaming, even they know this is way over their heads. One of them wants to suggest retreating, but of course Herkin immediately says that there's no way something like this can just stop here. He summons his skeletons behind him, stares down the dudes with marks on their foreheads. The otaku realize they've been blocked, but one of them says to just push forward and force a way through, until the lizard tail smacks him and sends him flying. Now they realize they're screwed. Skeletons to one side, the monster behind. That's when they spot Herkin sneaking past them. And our guy, he's just silently thanking his teammates, saying this is the perfect chance to get out, and he's not going to forget their sacrifice. While they're keeping the creature busy, the bastard makes a beeline for the now empty nest. He slips in without a problem and starts searching for the egg. Problem is, the damn item isn't there. He looks all over, trying to figure out where the hell it could be. Ah, found it. Looks like that little stone egg, the purple thing. He just picked the most suspicious object he could find in there. Only issue is, it looks more like a rock than an egg. That's when the system notifies him that the skeletal warrior was destroyed. Knowing the monster would be coming back after it dealt with the intruders, he figured it was time to leave. And right then, the entrance to the nest starts getting wrecked. Meanwhile, Herkin is trying to slip out quietly, keeping a low profile. Now that the damn boss is back, there's no more time to snoop around. So he decides he's just going to hand this thing in for the quest and say it's the egg, even if it's not. After all, the quest reward was basically nothing anyway. Back in the swamp, the smelly otaku are all passed out on the ground. Then, out of nowhere, someone approaches, it's Herkin again, calling out to them, saying how Warlord is such an interesting game and how there's so much freedom that weirdos like them just pop up. One guy tries to speak, but apparently, too late. He's already had his war watch stolen. Our guy says he's gonna make one thing clear. He let them do what they wanted because the whole thing was amusing, but now that his business is settled, he's got way too much to handle in this game. So next time they come after him, they won't be walking away so easily. The guy's shaking in his boots while Herkin walks off, seething with rage, muttering that if these fools really keep chasing him, he's going to start a full-on war with them. But now it's time to make some money. Looks like he contacted the Bangsu Guild and told them he spotted the lizard dragon in the swamp. He's selling the exact location for 100,000 gold. Later in Himbri's office, he drops the item off and says, here's the little egg you asked for. You can be sure it's the real deal. He's looking all awkward, hoping the guy doesn't suspect anything. But Himbri is just staring at it like his life depends on it. Then he says, this is exactly the item he was searching for. Good job, kid. This is it. And our boy celebrates. What a lucky break. The guy even says he thought it would take way longer for someone as weak as him to pull this off. And that's when Herkin realizes the bastard knew he was weak and useless all along, and still sent him anyway. So he says he gave it his all, but it'd be great to hand over the next quest now, hopefully with a proper reward. But Himbri wants to know if he has any idea what that item is. He explains that every time they explore an area with mutated monsters, this is what they find. That's why for now they're calling it the Stone of Corruption. Right away, Herkin is pretty sure that guy, the knight, and the tall weird girl whose skills we haven't even seen yet were probably after that exact thing. The Stone of Corruption is an important item tied to the main quest, and odds are those two are trying to make sure they get it from whoever picked up the mission first. He had thought he'd been scammed when he got the thing and the reward was nothing. He never imagined it was actually part of the main quest line. Himbri apologizes then. He knew it was going to be too much for the kid, but they're also up against a completely unknown creature, and he needed to test our boy's strength. Now he wants to know, what does he think? Was he ready to face corruption? Herkin might be weak, but he's got willpower. To him, this is just another opportunity, and without hesitation, he slaps his chest and says he'll give his heart and soul. But Himbri shuts it down. Not yet. That crushes the kid's expectations on the spot. The guy goes on to say that by now, he should realize how powerful those creatures are. Someone as weak as him, stuck at level 20, completely useless, still isn't helping with anything. Our boy's standing there alone trying to explain. But the guy cuts him off, saying it's fine. If you say, "Oh great mage, a Himbri, master of all mages, please let me be your disciple, and I will aid you." Look at this bastard, trying to make our boy beg and grovel. The door slams, and he completes the mission, getting the title of Disciple. Meaning, yeah, he had to humiliate himself. What could he do? He even got stuck with this card, and the bastard's out here acting like Lloyd Frontera. Of course, the bastard spent half an hour rubbing it in, making him repeat it. Our boy just wants to go back and punch him in the face. Scene switches to the swamp, and the big lizard just got roasted. The knights are all celebrating because their guild finally took down something worthwhile. Then someone with black hair comes running up saying the guy is way stronger than they expected. And yep, it's the bastard with the glasses. He adjusts them and says it's no problem, they gave great support. Still, he insists that if it had been just their guild, they would have all died. He hands over a little pouch, probably with some coins, and says it's not much, but it's the best they can offer to thank him. But the guy responds that this isn't the promised reward. They say they can pay with that, but he insists he doesn't break the rules. The guild guy's confused. He thought this dude had shown up just to help, like someone interested in gold or loot. He already thought it was weird that someone ranked that high would get involved, so who even is this guy? Then he walks off saying he's taking everything that's in the nest. They try to explain there's nothing left, right? The loot drops from the boss and they already picked it all up. Meanwhile, Glasses guy is thinking he got lucky. He never imagined he'd get a shot at picking up a corruption stone just like that. As soon as he heard the monster had reappeared, he figured it must have been because of that masked kid he ran into. But since the lizard was still alive, that meant the item hadn't been collected yet, and the kid must have failed the quest. He strolls into the nest all smug, thinking not everything in life can be done solo. Now all he had to do was grab the stone, and the masked guy wouldn't be able to finish his quest. Obviously, he already looked everywhere and found nothing. He cursed the heavens, screaming that the son of a bastard must have somehow taken the item. And then we see our boy, fully focused, saying the time has come. After countless days of struggling and telling himself that if he held on a bit longer, things would get better. His time had finally arrived, and it all ends now. The moment to stop begging for instant noodles, and finally eat some meat. He's spinning around celebrating, saying he's been saving up, living off garbage food, but now that he got 100,000, he can finally buy something good. The 100,000 gold he earned gets converted into 1,200,000 won man. But the moment the money hits his account, it starts getting debited instantly, and he drops down to 856. He has no idea what just happened, but the Korean payment system is ruthless. He immediately realizes there's no way it's gonna work out. Right then, he gets a message from Romani, the editor, checking if he's still alive and if he's already given up on being a YouTuber. Poor guy didn't even remember that crazy woman. Problem is, he can't record videos while that weirdo is hunting, and he's stuck grinding all week. He's pissed off at that woman and the guy with the glasses messing up his whole life. That's why he hasn't been posting. But he decides, screw those two, he's just an innocent gamer enjoying the game. He's gonna make money the way he knows how. Then the scene cuts to a graveyard. He shows up there with his skeleton crew. Perfect setting. He's entered the forest of the dead dungeon. Here he comes again, wearing that cringe mask, saying no matter how many times he walks through that place, it's always creepy. Right now, it's the best spot for grinding experience, and it will pull a lot of views too, especially with what he's planning to do. He summons the skeletons and tells them to get ready. It's hunting time. But first, they got a new friend now. Since he's part of the strategy, it'd be good if everyone got along with him. It's this skinny, awkward, red-tinted skeleton. Seems like that was a skill given to him by that bastard Himbri. Only issue is, it drains a ton of mana. Even so, he tells them to get ready because the hunt is about to begin. And right then, the target comes out of the ground. A group of level 33 skeletons shows up. His own skeleton crew looks totally confused. Like, how is this possible? Family? Herkin tells them to start the hunt, but his skeletons are pointing at each other like, you mean hunt? Our own kind. He explains that once the fight starts, they'll realize these undead are nothing like them. Strangely though, his little skeletons are all crouched and shaking in fear. Our boy cracks his knuckles and yells at them. This hesitation is just getting in the way. They need to level up. Then the first skeleton charges and slashes the enemy clean across. But even sliced up, the enemy skeleton keeps attacking. His own skeleton gets scared and Herkin tells him, you gotta get it. Normal attacks don't work on these things. Then he pulls out the mage's hammer and smashes the thing to dust. It crumbles and he tells his crew, that's how you do it. But his guys are standing there holding their heads in shock. He scolds them, no more messing around. Today's goal is 100 skeletons in 100 minutes. And if they don't deliver, they're all getting left behind in that place. The moment he says that, they all take off crying, tears in their eyes. Not long after, the screen starts popping up status windows. You defeated a skeleton. Your skeleton leveled up, you leveled up. And the poor guys are grinding through the tears. Our boy's smiling. He thought it'd take them longer to adjust, but honestly, they're doing great. At this pace, the video's gonna be a hit. He just needs to send it to Romani. But right then, a massive skeleton appears in front of him. A level 35 warrior. And of course, once again, a rare spawn shows up that absolutely shouldn't be there. But instead of panicking, he sees it as a golden opportunity for experience. He charges right in, eyes glowing gold. This is his chance to make money and finally order some proper food. But in the middle of his charge, a massive axe swing nearly clips him. The ground shatters and he dodges it by a hair. The poor guy realized he had nearly died before even getting a hit in, but at the same time he managed to break one of the monster's arms. The second attack was coming fast, but now he felt calm. Yep, his skeleton crew charged in, and the beast looked like it was getting sliced up. Man, they were all in perfect sync. Look at that, 4 of them lined up behind him. He asked if they were okay, and everyone snapped a salute. But our boy thought it was over, didn't notice the boss sneaking up behind him. Just another bait. He turns around, and this little monster's already showing it's got no patience. That's because he had left some water behind earlier, and now the fireball was ready to go. The poor boss gets blasted from behind, and finally the skeleton warrior is defeated. Watching the beast burn in the flames, he's sure this video is gonna get at least 10,000 views. All that barbecue made him even hungrier though. Isn't it about time to eat something? But of course, no rest man, the madness keeps going. The region boss had felt the death of one of its minions, and now it's tracking down the intruders. A massive circle appears, and the boss starts to materialize. Damn, this skeleton's got swagger, would be dope if he joined our boy's squad. But clearly, he's not in the mood. A golden skeleton, level 40. Obviously the boss of the Forest of the Dead, and also the first mage-type boss players usually face. This monster's title? Beginner Slayer. He remembers now. The condition to summon this bastard was to wipe out a bunch of skeletons. He doesn't know if he can win, but he's sure this thing's a goldmine. Feeling confident, he says all he needs to do is buff his skeletons and call everyone in. But when he looks behind him, they're gone. The skeletons were unsummoned because he ran out of mana. He can practically picture the bastards waving goodbye and laughing at his face. Our boy realizes, yep, that was dumb. With 4 skeletons summoned and another one chucking a massive fireball. Of course his mana would run dry. That leaves him with no real choice. It's been a while, but it's time to handle this one with his own body. He switches on that power-up and his aura flares to life. The skeleton boss gets ready too, and he says, alright, it's go time. As he charges in, a circle appears on the monster's back and starts glowing. A bunch of lasers come flying out, but he keeps pushing forward. He's shocked. Just one direct hit from that could completely drain his health bar. If this bastard keeps up this kind of firepower, he won't be able to get close, which means there's no way to win like this. So first things first, he needs to stop the damn thing from casting again. He slams his hammer right into the monster's hand, hitting it dead on and canceling the cast. The glowing circle shatters. He mutters that he knows damn well those hands are linked to every special attack. The trick to killing this boss, break all its hands. The skeleton seems almost surprised that he figured it out. And then our boy gets a message. The boss of the region is staring at Hugh. The creature successfully sees through him and starts analyzing his power. Suddenly, it unleashes another technique. Purple energy begins forming behind its back. Herkin's trying to figure out what's going on when a giant star appears in the sky. Man, the monster's charging up a freaking Kamehameha. Now our boy bolts, full panic. He's never seen this attack pattern before. What the hell's happening? He's sprinting, trying to outrun it, but the thing keeps getting closer and he gets launched away. He has no clue why this boss, one he's fought and defeated multiple times, suddenly has a whole new move set. The ground's torn to pieces, and there's a glowing purple pool left behind. He racks his brain trying to remember. Far as he knows, this isn't the kind of boss that hides patterns or changes behavior based on the player. And of course, since this was an early game boss, it's not like he had any fresh memory of it. No skeletons, no idea of the attack patterns. How was he supposed to kill this giant right in front of him? Another being comes flying in, and he decides that for now he's just going to do his best with what he's got. He is back to dodging, trying to close the gap. But the problem now is that every time he gets close to a locked-on laser, he's forced to change direction. With no time to counterattack, he starts wondering where this damn thing's blind spot could be. But it looks like he steps a little off and stumbles. Oh no, he gets grabbed by the skeleton. Damn, it looked like it was about to bite him, but instead, it holds him close to its mouth and opens a glowing circle down its throat. That's when Herkin says he's got a few cards up his sleeve too. He casts, or inflicts, the demon's curse on the monster. That weakens its stats by 13%, and he manages to break free and leap toward its forehead. He didn't know how he'd get a chance to land a finishing blow, but the monster practically handed it to him. And if that's the case, then he'll show his thanks, with a punch right between the eyes. The big skeleton starts to crack all over, and just like that, he did it. The monster collapses to the ground. He really defeated it. The golden skeleton is down. He earns a ton of experience, over 97,000 gold, and the title Skeleton Slayer. He's standing there exhausted, saying that was way too close. He deactivates his skill, and on the status screen, he's now level 36. What a bastard grin he's wearing, celebrating. But then he realizes the real danger. His mana is way too low for someone who depends on summoned creatures. Up until now, he'd managed to keep up, leveling fast, earning titles. But now that he needs to keep multiple skills active at once, it's not cutting it anymore. He's been training his skeletons, giving them gear and everything. But what's the point if they vanish in the middle of the fight? The worst part is he already has every title that boosts mana at this point in the game. After thinking it through, he concludes there's nothing he can do about it. He's just going to send the video to Romani and head home to eat some beef ramen. Meanwhile, Over at her place, Romani's punching a teddy bear, screaming if he's lost his mind and asking why he's doing all this. Weirdly enough, she's actually jumping around excited, saying she's never seen a player beat a boss above their level without taking a single hit. And on top of that, he did it without even knowing the boss's patterns. She figures she might not even need to edit the footage. The video alone is already gold. He starts wondering what the title should be. The man who commands the undead? The one-man army? But suddenly she decides the title will be Emperor of Solo Play, which coincidentally is the name of the whole series. Cut to the Hunters Association, and look who's back to talk to that bastard again. Our boy's feeling proud now that he's stronger, but the mage, of course, wants to know why he looks like a homeless guy now. Still, he's got what he promised. He completes Imbri's Teachings Part 2 and receives the Book of Osteology. He doesn't even know what that is. Actually, it's osteology. Turns out it boosts all stats of summoned skeletons by 5% and reduces mana cost by 10%. Huh, what a coincidence. The protagonist gets exactly what he needs. That's when Himbri says there's something else for him too. The Ring of the Corrupted Tracker, made from that stone he brought. With it, he can now use corrupt powers as well. It gives him +9 to all stats, which is already insane. And if he pairs it with a matching necklace, it gives another +21 to all stats. What even is that? The kid's drooling over it. This ring is only given to those who complete the first main quest. He's already jumping to grab it, greedy as ever. But Himbri pulls it back and says, actually, he's not giving it to him. It's too valuable. He just turns around and waves goodbye. Herkin's confused. He just got challenged out of nowhere. Why'd that guy pull something like that? Then Himbri turns around and tells him, go on, try to take it. Our boy laughs and charges in, all fired up, saying the old man's dead if he actually gets his hands on it. A few hours later, he's outside the city holding the ring in his hand, muttering that the old man is insane. He swears he'd kill that lunatic if he weren't an NPC. After finally managing to snatch the ring, the bastard handed him the next quest, saying he had sent someone named Miggy to a certain castle and they hadn't returned. Classic. But the thing is, the castle of Suyu is a high-level zone, so now our boy has to grind even more before he can head there. That's when a message pops up from Romani. It's urgent news about the video he uploaded. Might be worth checking. And oh man, just when we were praising him, boom, 2.35 million views. What the hell? But only 1,000 likes? Come on, folks, hit the like on the kid's video. Actually, hit the like on mine too while you're at it. Seriously, when a video's got over 1 million views and barely 1,000 likes, that's just wrong. On top of that, some generous people started sending donations. You don't have to, of course, but props to those folks. They've got good hearts. In total, he earned, well, a number with way too many zeros. He falls back in shock, trying to count 3, 4, 8 zeros. The guy's already daydreaming about meat. Filet mignon, ribs, brisket, whatever he wants. Honestly, I respect his taste. Being able to eat good meat every day, that'd be the dream. He's drooling, trying to figure out what kind of treasure just landed in his lap. He knew the video would do well, but he didn't expect this. And the best part? Until now, he was totally focused on leveling up. But seeing how rich he suddenly is, log out time, baby, it's meat o'clock. Turns out he got a donation from the Thunder Guild. 1 million. Yeah, they're clearly trying to recruit him. Apparently, they even sent a private message, but he didn't reply. That's the guild run by none other than the notorious Chase Xiaolian. In his past life, they were just as pushy. Every time he refused to join and entered a dungeon, they'd show up right after to hunt him down. Different life now, but same damn people. And this time, no way in hell he's joining them. He even remembers saying something like this in the past. There he is now, hand over his face, muttering how annoying those people are. That woman was way too persistent, even after he turned her down more times than he could count. Not to mention he already had his own guild. She needed to back off. And that friend of his, yeah, we know by now he's no real friend. The guy with the headband says Herkin's lucky. Thunder Guild is one of the best in the country, even in the top 30. The guild leader is the daughter of a filthy rich guy, so anyone who joins is basically guaranteed a 6-figure salary. Makes sense they're chasing someone as skilled as Herkin. Every time they post a dungeon video, the comments are all about him. He's starting to realize just how out of their league he is, but Herkin cuts them off, tells them to stop with that talk. He doesn't care about some 3-digit paycheck. He's also not joining the Thunder Hunters. The money will come once they become the strongest, and that's what he's after. Why chase money now? He'd rather keep enjoying the game with his guildmates. The guy's just standing there, red-eyed, saying, "You're right." But in the present, Herkin can't believe he actually said all that to those bastards. One slap would be enough to snap him back to reality. Back then, he said all that to a bunch of traitors. But now he needs to say it to himself. This isn't the time to be thinking about money. There's still a lot of work to do. It's way too early to start feeling satisfied. He's definitely going to use all that money, but because there are things to take care of. The skeletons are already summoned, and our boy makes it clear. They better remember that he had to deal with the golden one all by himself. That's exactly why today, every single member of the squad is going to learn how to train on their own too. Back in the past, his little crew was asking if they could take it a bit easier today. They didn't have to push so hard, and besides, they weren't as skilled as he was. Meanwhile, their skeleton summons. all dialed in, laser focused. The boy smiles, saying that yeah, this time things were different. They were going to become the strongest. Their next destination, the Su Castle. Until they got there, training wouldn't stop. The training itself was simple. They'd be running all the way there, and anyone who fell behind was getting beat. Right away, the little guys took off crying again. And then she shows up. God, how I hate her. So hot. I don't know why, but every time this cursed woman appears all well-drawn, it feels like the author's trying to make us forgive her. I don't know, man, I've just got that gut feeling. The guy in the blue cloak wants to know what Miss High and Mighty is thinking about, sitting on top of that mountain of dragon corpses. He's another Thunder Guild member, name's Hatch. She climbs down the pile and says it's nothing, then asks how things are going with the corrupt count. He says, unfortunately, there's been no progress. They still have no clue how to get the next quest. Frustrated, Ceolian says they can't let Hydra get the main quest before they do. That would be humiliating. Hatch replies that they'll figure it out soon anyway, since the leaders of the top 30 guilds are about to meet. But she brushes it off, saying there's no reason for her to hang around a bunch of losers. As she walks away, Hatch thinks to himself how cold she always is and warns the guild master to be careful. After all that adventure and money, there's our boy slamming his bag on the ground and finally paying off the loan sharks. Now he could actually sleep without worrying about getting murdered in the middle of the night. His next target? Skill books. He grabs a bunch of them. With those two big things handled, he's back to being dead broke. His bank account says 0. He's just standing there holding 3 books, saying yeah, he was prepared for this, but still didn't think he'd actually go all the way back to 0. At least now he could start learning the skills and hopefully suffer less. The first skill was one that fuses monster skin onto his own to boost defense. After taking enough damage, the material would need to be replaced. He immediately tries it out using the horn he took from that skeleton boss. An armored helm wraps around him and he gains +5 defense. He grabs a sword and slashes his own arm, amazed that even hitting himself there wasn't a scratch. Next book, Curse of Sloth, a skill that slows down enemy movements. The catch? The faster, heavier, or stronger the target is, the more mana it drains. He looks over at his skeleton, who's a bit confused, and hits it with the debuff. Watching the poor thing move in slow motion, he realizes, yep, this one's gonna be real useful. Time for the last skill, Golem Summon. Obviously the most difficult and most expensive one to get, also the one he wanted the most. The ground starts cracking, his skeletons get spooked, and he announces that he's finally summoned his first one. A massive golem rises, and now he finally feels like a necromancer with a creature that can actually take a hit. And the best part? It comes with a wild function, Mirror Mode. When activated, the golem syncs its movements with his. If he combines the golem's brute strength with his own speed, it could be insanely effective. He throws a punch, but the golem just stands there. The skeletons look confused, and he starts wondering why it didn't work. Maybe it's bugged. Then the golem throws the same punch. That's when he gets it. That was the golem's maximum speed. He laughs, asking himself what he's supposed to do now. But deep down, he's crying, thinking he totally got scammed. Then the scene cuts to that big gathering, right? The meeting of the top 30 guilds. But honestly, the place isn't looking too lively. Just 4 people showed up. The leader of the Ares Guild, a guy named Nurgle, thanks everyone for being there. At least he's optimistic. The room was meant to have 30 people and there are 4, but he's happy anyway. Shev comments that there are a few familiar faces. And there's this chubby guy. Yeah, his name is literally Berg. Next to him is the one and only Ceres. Syrian, her name changes every 5 minutes. Let's just call her Syrian and be done with it. Berg points out that 29 people were invited, so why does the place feel so empty? Shev keeps it positive, saying that honestly, more showed up than he expected. But Nurgle admits it's weird. Usually, a lot more attend. Which, to be fair, makes sense, considering these top 30 guilds are always competing against each other. That's when Nurgle decides to get to the point. The Hydra Guild discovered the identity of the corrupt count, and it seems like they're planning the final raid in 1 month. Shev immediately says that's impossible. He doesn't buy it. None of the other guilds have even gotten close. He's sure Hydra pulled some shady stunt. Right then, Berg slams the table, yelling that the game is finished. If those guys pull this off, they won't just get that quest. They'll lock down all future main story quests too. They're talking about sponsorships and dominance when Ceolian suddenly tells them all to shut up. She says if they're too scared to compete, then they should just stay quiet, get lost, and stop wasting everyone's time. Berg, though, he's not scared. He even asks if she wants to throw hands. Shev steps in, telling him to calm down. They fight enough as it is, so just for today, maybe try keeping the peace. Nurgle agrees and says he called this meeting to propose an anti-Hydra alliance. The idea? The 4 guilds present would agree not to fight each other until the whole corrupt count business is finished. On top of that, they'd share all the info they've got to give themselves a better shot. He asks what they think. Shev doesn't look thrilled, but says it's probably the only way. Berg agrees. This is the only shot they've got to stop Hydra. The meeting wraps up, but no one even asks for Ceolian's opinion. Cut to her house, and yeah, it's her house. Seriously, we're following this girl's story way too closely. It's starting to feel suspicious. The author is definitely planning to make us side with her. She's sitting there, fuming. She says it's humiliating not being able to defeat the first major boss solo. Having to team up with other guilds is the worst. But clearly, she's got no choice. If they let those guys take down the Count first, they're screwed. This isn't the time to sit around, it's time to move. She makes a call and orders everyone in the guild to keep a close eye on Hydra. Any suspicious movement, they report it immediately. The corrupt Count has to belong to them, no matter what it takes. Now we're back at the association in the castle. Our boy is standing there with a confused look on his face, asking what exactly this guy means. The dude, arms crossed, tells him to go to Bobora Forest. That's where this Midgie guy went missing. He wants Herkin to go there and investigate, find out what happened. The problem? Bobora Forest is crawling with level 70 monsters. Even Herkin's shaken. He flat out says there's no way he'll survive. If even one monster attacks him, he's dead on the spot. But the guy responds that yeah, sure, that's true for most people. But he's not just anybody. He's the disciple of Himbri. And if he refuses, he loses his corruption tracker status, which means he probably loses the ring and that necklace too. Back in the city, our boy is sitting in front of the fountain, completely defeated. He's wondering how the hell he's going to get through this. He opens the quest window and finds Midgie Man. Just reading it already feels like trouble. He's supposed to investigate the corrupted stones and pick up whatever quest this Midgie guy was doing. The reward? 500 gold coins and a few extras. But the real problem is the penalty. If he fails, he loses his title. He knows that every main quest is the last thing you can afford to mess up, but this one's way too difficult. He starts realizing that all this business of accepting harder and harder missions is finally starting to bite him in the ass. Truth is, no regular player should be able to pull off everything he has. He's been scraping by, barely managing, leaning on knowledge from his past life. But now, the difficulty curve has completely changed. This quest is made for level 60 and up. There's no way he can solo it. So how is he supposed to handle the Bobora Forest thing? Just then, he overhears a guy chatting with a cat girl NPC. Did you see that the Hydra Guild is about to complete the main quest? She says she doesn't think so. Even the top 30 guilds are struggling. But the guy asks what happens to everyone else's main quests if Hydra finishes theirs. That weirdly sparks an idea in Herkin. He realizes he might not have to go through the forest at all. We then cut to a guy with binoculars watching the Count's hunter. He says once again nothing's been found. The guy with the orange hair, his name's Nadal, is watching too, while his partner mutters that he's curious what the reward is for killing the Count. Nadal tells him not to get carried away imagining stuff, because this isn't over yet. Their mission is to secretly keep an eye on that place. They can't let their guard down or let any info slip out. That's when someone comes out of the forest calling their names. He's from the Red Bull Guild, name's Kim. Nadal wants to know what his guild is doing there. Kim says there's a strong monster up on the mountain, and he was just on his way to kill it. Because, you know, we're not involved in all of this, he says with a smirk. Nadal insists that they are involved, trying to act like they're not clearly watching the castle. Kim clearly sees through the bluff and asks why he's squatting in the middle of nowhere. You got poop or something. He jokes that casually says he'll leave him in peace to finish his business. But you can tell from Kim's face, he knows something's up. He checks his watch and reports that guild member No. 8 is there too, so the information seems legit. Meanwhile, Chev, living his peaceful little life, says that it can't be true. But the info they received from the anonymous tipster is checking out. The girl with him, sharp as ever, says she thought it was just a prank. But now she's wondering, why would someone give away information like that for free and anonymously? Chev figures maybe some guilds have members who hate their own teams. Could be someone inside Hydra who's leaking info out of spite. Kim asks if he should start a skirmish to buy some time. Chev tells him no, for now it's better to fall back. If that really is the corrupt Count's castle, the Hydra crew is gonna flood that place soon. Better not risk losing someone as strong as him. Kim blushes a little, waving it off like, come on, no need to hype me up like that. But right as he says that, bam, someone comes charging at him with a sword and the entire ground explodes. Chev hears the impact from a distance. Kim standing there with his hands up, saying, well, guess we weren't the only ones who got the tip. And here she comes, the Thunder Princess Chihuahua herself. Today's blonde menace is named Ha Hui, and she demands Kim spill everything he's found out. Meanwhile, back on Herkin's side, we see a massive bear charging toward one of his guards. The guard's blocking attacks, holding his ground, but the bear winds up a punch, goes in for a hit, and it's way too slow. While our skeleton boys are all sitting around watching, somehow wearing 3D glasses for who knows what reason. Our main guy is searching for something but isn't finding anything. He's starting to wonder why it's so quiet. He surely sent out those emails, so why hasn't anyone replied? This was his only way to avoid dealing with Bobora Forest. Basically, he's trying to force the main quest to end. That's because in Warlord, the main quest is split into multiple chapters. Right now, they're in Chapter 1, the Corrupt Count. And as soon as the Count is defeated, the chapter closes, and all related side quests are forcibly completed. So yeah, he still wants to be part of the main quest, but without failing and without going into that forest to get murdered or not finding the missing person. In other words, for him, the best outcome is for someone, anyone, to finish that quest now. That's why he leaked the information to everyone. Right then, a notification pops up. Hydra Guild has started a live stream. The big golem's lying on the ground, arms busted up, and the bear's winding up another hit. But Hirkin rushes in, smacks it in the head, telling it to chill. He wants to watch the stream, damn it. Everyone gathers around. Someone on screen welcomes the viewers and introduces himself as a Hydra member. He announces they'll be revealing the identity of the corrupt count today, and will announce the big raid date too. All Hirkin wants is for the raid to happen within the next month. That's the time limit for his quest. The guy says the date, and everyone on stream is shocked, but it's censored so we can't see it. Damn it. But the next panel says it'll be in 3 days. Hirkin relaxes. That's way sooner than he expected. The skeletons, they're all glaring at him. They know he forced the situation. Now that everyone has the info, it's turned into a race to see who finishes the quest first. Back to the bear fight. At least now, he doesn't have to care who finishes it, even if it's Hydra. Whatever. Besides, he knows there are other guilds out there that will eventually outshine Hydra. There are plenty of skilled players in the world. The best part is just not having to deal with that cursed forest anymore. But then, cut to another scene. A guy gets slammed into the ground. Every member of Hydra Guild wiped out. Quest failed. Hirkin's reaction? He chucks his phone at the floor. He's furious. How the hell did those idiots charge into the castle with no plan and get themselves killed in an hour? He's hitting the ground, asking what the other options are now. That's when the Red Bull Guild starts their own live stream. Our boy knows this one. It's the guild of the infamous Slayer Chev. He's standing at the front, saying that if the castle is resetting, then Hydra clearly failed. He tells the troops to take a good look. This enemy was strong enough to crush them. Not only that, but Red Bull doesn't have many resources left, so their odds of winning are low. Still, they accept the challenge. Everyone's cheering, chanting Red Bull, Red Bull, while Hirkin's just sitting there thinking, what's the plan this time? Don't tell him they're going in unprepared again. And that's when Chev announces a special guest who will be joining the guild's party. Yep, her, the Queen of Thunder, Chasilian. Hirkin's expression changes instantly. Why the hell is she on his screen? Flashback time, just before the live stream. Chev's laughing, surprised that she asked for a meeting. And there she is just staring him down. He asks if she's here to declare war. She says no. He jokes that it's hard to believe. He heard some of his guys got beaten to a pulp. She chuckles and says that was just her way of saying hi. But now it was time to talk business. She heard he had intel on the corrupt count. He plays dumb, pretending he's never even heard of it, but Celian shuts that down quick, tells him to stop with the games. She already confirmed that several people from the top 30 guilds received the leaked information, and the fact that he's looking into this, even though his guild isn't exactly known for tracking quests, pretty much proves he knows something. Chev, clearly a bit awkward, admits there's no point hiding it. Yeah, he knows, but the problem is, he doesn't have any solid leads. Celian leans in, smiles slyly, and taps her sword on the table, asking what he thinks. Does he believe Hydra's going to pull it off? He says there's no way to tell, but she's confident they're going to fail. She's sure Hydra pushed the raid date up just to try and be the first. But the corrupt count? He's the first boss of a main area. It's not going to be that easy. Chev replies, we're talking about Hydra here though. So what exactly are you implying? He asks her to be straight with him. Celian just chuckles, then slams her sword into the table and asks what he thinks about teaming up for the dungeon. She says she'll make sure he gets the first kill. This woman, cold, bold, deadly, and stacked. Chev's stunned. He thought she was bluffing the whole time. Back to the present. There she is, live in action. And just like the rumors said, she's absolutely wiping the floor with monsters. No sweat, but now they're face to face with the count. The boss looks down at them and says, you're not bad, but your will to fight ends here. A legion of creatures charges in and the guild starts struggling. Chev quickly realizes the team is hitting their limit. Celian mutters that she's already taken out a bunch of enemies, but the numbers just keep coming. That's when Chev collapses in front of her, telling the Thunder Queen that he'll carve a path to the count. He slams his sword into the ground and clears the way. She charges straight at the boss. The monster roars, asking how she dares defy him, and launches a barrage of tentacles. She dodges, leaping through the air, ready to strike. This is the end, until something pierces right through her. For a second, we thought she had it. Chev shouts her name, but this demon, she actually gets back up. She tricked us all. Total bait. She recovers and cuts the damn boss in half. Chev stares, wide-eyed, and finally admits it. She's even more terrifying than he imagined. There she is, standing tall, cool as hell, foot on the fallen boss like a queen. Meanwhile, Hirkin, not happy. But even so, it doesn't matter. This was his goal. The corrupt count is dead and he doesn't care who did it. Let her enjoy her little moment of glory, because payback is coming. In the end, he's going to be the one who takes her down. Back in the Bukas Mountains, our boy stands with determination, saying his name is Jia Hin. Known in name as Hirkin, a warlord player, a man reborn. His dream is to become the strongest and take revenge on all the bastards who ruin his life. With so many titles under his belt, the only question is, why is every mission he takes ending with him being chased by monsters and running for his life? A few hours earlier, we see him reaching a locked zone, one that only opens when a certain condition is met. But our sneaky boy knows this is where the next main quest begins, and guess what? He's already inside. He immediately gets the title first to step on the mountain, gaining +2 to all stats. Turns out the place only unlocks once the count is killed, and he was ready, waiting for it. He goes in, summons his skeletons, and announces that it's finally his time to shine. Or, not quite. He runs straight into a swarm of level 60 boars. He's level 41. Forest's packed. Bad combo. Cut to the present. He's running for his life. He forgot that after crossing the barrier, the zone had never been farmed, meaning it's overflowing with untouched monsters. With no other choice and realizing he's just going to end up running in circles, he bucks all his skeletons and sends them charging in. The boars, man, they're biting, headbutting. His skeletons are getting wrecked. One hit, and they're done. Herkin's shocked that those damn things one-shot them like that. But honestly, he's okay with it, because that was just bait. The Curse of Sloth had activated, and now the monsters are basically frozen in place. He draws his sword and announces that they're about to pay the price for killing his skeletons. But then he steps on a banana peel. Faceplants. Something drops on his head. Turns out it was another monster. A freaking armored monkey that just loves messing with humans. He curses the bastard, but it's already too late. The curse wore off and the boars are free again. He thought he was done for. But right at that moment, a bolt slices straight through the boar, tearing it in half. He has no idea where the attacks are coming from, but someone's in the area with a damn crossbow, unleashing a barrage that clears the whole zone. He's stunned, wondering who could have that kind of power to wipe out monsters like this. And when he turns around, he wonders, is that the one? No way. The profile cards show an elven archer girl, but standing there's a full-grown mustached uncle. Cut back to Sue Castle. One guy tells his friend to look closely. Isn't that dude wearing the white mamba set? The other confirms, yeah. Only rank-up players typically have that gear. The guy with glasses asks Michael if she's discovered the identity of the person behind the info leak. That shadowy woman, who the artist refuses to draw clearly, says, unfortunately no. None of the guilds have a clue yet. They're trying to find out who leaked the dungeon details, but everything was anonymous. The glasses guy switches gears and asks if there's anything new about that masked player. Michael says he just seems to be posting regular hunting videos. It's impossible to believe a newbie who just started the main quest could be behind all this. She asks who he's working with now, and he replies that he'll be helping the Sweepers Guild. She sighs, saying it sounds like he's going to be busy for a long while again, while he swears he'll uncover and take down whoever is disrupting the balance of this world. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, our guy is grinning like an idiot, bragging that he's a Himbre's disciple. He's lucky, happy, and feeling great. He's found the person he was looking for and got saved in the process. But no, actually, that's not Meiji. That's Mawang. Maybe he's who Herkin's supposed to find, or maybe not. It's getting a little confusing. Either way, he's the key NPC for the second quest chapter. Despite being skilled enough to once train the prince, Mawang was removed from the city during an event. Since then, he's become the captain guarding Mount Bulkas. And this is the NPC Herkin needs for the next arc. Mawang tells him to head back. It's not safe here. He doesn't know why Herkin came, but this place is swarming with monsters. Herkin smiles and announces that the corrupt count has been defeated. Even so, corrupted monsters are still roaming. He followed a trace of corrupt energy and ended up here. He asks if Mawang knows anything. Of course, he's saying all this just to trigger the next main quest. Mawang says he has someone in mind, but no proof. Herkin instantly knows where this is going and asks if he wants help gathering evidence. Boom, he gets 2 titles. First, to contact the Hunter of Bulkas Initiator, and that one gives +14 to all stats. He sees the rewards, and you can just tell he wants that quest now. He tells Mawang to hand it over already. He's ready to help. Mawang agrees and tells him to investigate the area. The quest. Kill 50 monsters on the mountain. Reward, 500 gold and Mawang's trust. You'd think he'd be terrified, right? But no, he's actually hyped. It's the perfect mission. He needs to level up and train his summons. For now, they'll leave the boars and bears alone and start with the weaklings. Just then, he hears something. A huge armored monkey staring him down. And our boy's already saying it's time for this bastard to like on video that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers, activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.